a quorum. If you please stand, we'll say a pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome, everyone, to our September 9th Morgan County Plan Commission meeting. First thing on our agenda is approval of minutes. Everyone had a chance to read the minutes?
Read the minutes. I'd like to approve the consent.
Do we have a second? Only seconds. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Next on our agenda is approval of agendas. Is there any correction or addition to the agendas? If not, I'll call for a motion.
I think Laura wants to say something.
Can you hear me? Sorry. It's the sensitive mic tonight. So we do have the one item that's been withdrawn, so no action is required. That item cannot be returned to the agenda until and unless 3 months have passed and a brand-new petition is submitted. So that's that one. It requires no motion or vote. The other item is we did have a petition that was submitted to be scheduled for tonight, but the petitioner didn't provide their proof of publication for the public notice. And so by the time I put their packets together and sent them out, I learned about it on Saturday. So he did do the public notice, but I did not have proof of that before the meeting. So I was forced to continue it. So I just would like a motion to continue that one. Even though it's not even on the agenda, there's really nothing to continue, but because it was advertised and he did advertise it, I would suggest just recommending that it get continued to the October 16th meeting.
So it wasn't on this agenda?
It wasn't even on the agenda. It was a rezoning request on 252.
So you need a motion to continue that till
Please,
October?
yes.
Do we have a motion to continue the petition
Make
till
a
October?
motion, we continue that.
I'll second.
Favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. That's the only agenda corrections. Thank you.
So the correction to the agenda is old business, the public hearing for petition to rezone PUD 2401 in Heartland Crossing from Gradison Land Development has been pulled, withdrawn. So there will be no old business, so we'll need a motion to amend the agenda with taking the old business out. So,
Move to approve the agenda PUD 24-01.
do we have a second?
Second.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We'll move right along to new business. Public hearing for petition to minor plat MIP 2406. Scott Whitaker is requesting a 5-lot minor plat. The 35-acre parcel is located at 0 Walters Road, approximately half a mile east of Eminence in Adams Township, and is zoned ag. I don't see Scott. Mike, are you representing Scott? Address for us, Mike.
My name is Michael Shepard. I'm at 2178 South Denny Hill Road, Bergen, Indiana. I'm the land surveyor who's doing this and representing Scott Whitaker. Yeah, I guess I don't know which, you probably have this in front of you, but Scott basically just wants to split 4 2-acre tracts, and then the remainder will all be ag tracts. And that's really all there is to it.
One thing you see, if you look at the tech reports, I've requested a buffer easement along the 2 ditches that are all along the, what parcel is that, Mike?
It will be in the 28.55-acre parcel. There's a
Large parcel to the
Yeah.
north, the
There's a
remainder
couple.
parcel?
creeks that intersected it. I wasn't aware that they need
Yeah.
to
Yeah, there's two large
put a
creeks,
50-foot buffer.
two large waterways that go through there. So it's lot one.
Yes.
So, Mike and I talked about it, he's gonna put that on there, and then I'll sign the plat. If approved, I'll sign the plat then. Laura, did you get the right-of-way you requested? Yes. That's taken care of? Do you have any questions for Mike? No questions? Okay. All right, thanks, Mike. Okay, Laura, would you like to, anything to add? Nothing to add? Okay. We have no one else signed up, opposition or interested, so this closes our public portion of the hearing. Open for discussion and/or a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the minor plat request MIP 24-06.
We have a motion to approve the minor plat. Do we have a second?
Second.
Kenny Hill seconds. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Mike, get that on there, we'll sign that for you. Once you get that buffer easement on there, we'll sign that for you. We'll move on to item B, petition for secondary plat approval. MAP 2401, Rod Stafford is seeking a secondary plat for approval for a 50-lot subdivision known as the Oaks, Section 2. It's 150 acres. Property is located on the east side of Lincoln Hill Road in Washington Township and is zoned ag at this time. State your name, your address for us, please.
My name is Rod Stafford. My address is P.O. Box 1723, Martinsville, 46151. So we're here for our secondary plat on the Oaks at Lincoln, which was originally platted as a part of the Martinsville buffer zone. And when the county took the buffer zone back into its jurisdiction, we came with that. So we've made a transition from the city governance to the county planning and governance. And so we're here to do the final plat on that particular parcel. We was approved for 128 lots on this original plat. We've decided to reduce the number. We did 37 in the original section up there, and then we want to do an additional 50 on here that she's got listed here. So we would actually do 87 of the 128 that we originally had done. So we have lowered our density by that number of lots. Went to a larger lot structure. Part of it is topography related, part of it is market related. We're starting to see bigger, more expensive homes in this area. We've got City of Martinsville utilities. We have their water, their sewer for the entire project, so there'll be no well or septic. And we've submitted the plat according to the numbers that I just give you for your review here for our final plat, or secondary plat, as you call it. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so on the waiver, we're asking also for a waiver. We're gonna keep all the roads in here private. So they'll all be blacktop. So there'll be a full 3 inches plus 1, so they'll be built to the county standard of the thickness of the asphalt that has always been required up until just recently. I think they've modified that ordinance. So all the roads will have a lesser road width, and there will be a 3-in-1 asphalt, 3 inches of base with 1 inch of surface and a tack coat between, sitting on top of 8 inches or more of crushed stone. So, but they will remain private. They will be privately owned and privately maintained for the road maintenance itself, the snow removal, et cetera. There'll be no county obligation there. That's all will be covered in our covenants and restrictions.
And the main reason for that is the slope of the hills are way too, there's too steep. And they're way
Yeah.
over the county specs, what they take in. Any questions for Rod? No? Rod? Did anyone else sign up? No one else has signed up for this, so this closes the public portion of the hearing. Not for this one. Oh, sorry.
I apologize. I thought it was on.
Sorry, we missed you. Mr. Schoolscraft, come on up. Come on up.
He's for the zoning. Hang on 1 second. Let him.
He's here for
He's
the,
actually for the zoning, not for the minor, not for the secondary plat.
Well, I want to talk about his project. If I got on the wrong sheet, I don't know.
go ahead.
Well, the secondary plat is not a public hearing, because he's already had that public hearing through the city. So the public hearing that he signed up for was for the rezone request.
So it's for the next thing that you're hearing.
Oh, okay.
So it'll be just a minute.
All right.
Sorry.
Sorry about that confusion. Any comments on the secondary plat? Has taken the number of lots down by quite a bit. This is just a continuation of a subdivision that was already put in the town of Martinsville in the buffer. Call for a motion.
Kenny Hill makes a motion, we approve the secondary plat approval for a 50-lot subdivision known as the Oaks Section 2, as well as the waiver on the roads will be kept private.
Do we have a second? All seconds. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. That's okay. The public hearing for petition to rezone Z2404, Rod Stafford is once again. Rod? It's for the Oaks Section 2, asking from Ag to R1. The property is located east side of Lincoln Hill Road in Washington Township.
Okay, so we're here to ask for the zoning for the same plat that was there. The way that it had been done through the city, the county wants us to do it a little bit different verbiage on that, so that's exactly what we're here to do tonight. This has always been intended to be a residential subdivision for single-family homes only. No redevelopment or no multifamily, anything. This is for single-family homes only, which would be reflected with the R1 zoning that we're requesting here.
Mr. Stafford? No? All right, thanks, Rod.
Okay.
Do you have anything you'd like to add at this time?
Everybody clear on the transition to buffer zones, why we're doing what we're doing? So we're just trying to make it all.
Trying to clean, make it easy as possible. All right, we do have some opposition. Mr. Schoolcraft?
Hi, thank you. My name is Ron Schoolcraft. I live at 2040 Country Club Road, Martinsville. The property adjacent to this one. First thing I would like to say is I'm relieved that the unconstitutional buffer zone nonsense with the city has been rectified. Since I didn't get to vote for those people, they had say over my property, so I'm glad that that situation has changed. With that said, I did not receive notification of the prior meeting that discussed the replat that has already been decided apparently, so I didn't get the opportunity to voice my opposition at that time. As you can see, I received notification for this one, hence I'm here. Sorry for the confusion a while ago. I didn't realize it had moved as far along as it has because, as I said, did not get notified of the previous city council meeting. With that said, this is nothing personal against Mr. Stafford. I've been a good neighbor to Mr. Stafford, tried to be a very good neighbor. What I'm here for is to try to stand up for my property rights. I believe in people's property rights. I believe in the right to do what you want to do on your property, with the exception of redeveloping for commercial application like this, where you're going to bring in a bunch of houses. He said he's reduced from 132 down to 87. Well, if you just simply look at, from a voting perspective, my wife and I, it's 2 people, 2 votes. You bring in 87 new people, that's 174 votes to 2. Who's going to win the argument? Not me. Part of the reason our nation was founded the way that it has been founded is to protect the rights of the minority. That's why there are many anti-democratic principles enshrined in our Constitution, such as the Electoral College for voting for president. If we didn't have the Electoral College, we'd be in a lot worse shape than we are right now. Other things about that, United States Senate, each state's represented equally. House, obviously, is based on proportion of population. Any purely democratic system stands to trample on the minority rights. So what I'm asking for here is to deny this petition, to deny this zoning request, and protect my property rights. Because when he floods that valley, that hillside, with 87 new properties and new homeowners, they will invariably tell me that I can't do what I want to do on my property. It's happened already with a small subdivision that happened, not a subdivision, but a dividing of a plat, and a new house was built. The original owner was a friend of mine, the borders on the south of my property. He died, there's new people in there. Now they're throwing trash across the fence onto my property, and I have to clean the mess up. That will happen in spades when you let 87 new homes go in directly adjacent to my property. They will tell me I can no longer shoot weapons on my property, target shooting. They will tell me I can no longer ride dirt bikes or ATVs on my property, which we like to do. They will tell me that I can no longer have animals on my property that make too much noise. They will destroy my ability to enjoy my property and live the way that I want to live on my property. Jason, I know you know very well what it's like when the government tramples on an individual's property rights. What they did to you is inexcusable, and I have been behind you the entire way, although it didn't matter because they did what they wanted to do anyway. And it was a shame, and I feel for you. That's what's going to happen here. They will eventually run me out of my home, run me off of my property, and completely overwhelm me. So I'm asking you, please, don't do this. Please save my property rights. Thank you.
Okay, that's all we have signed up. Mr. Stafford, would you like a rebuttal?
So, none of what you heard is, in my opinion, going to happen. There's one tract that we put beside Mr. Schoolcraft's property, one single tract. It goes along his entire west line, meets one of our track's entire east line. He will have one new neighbor. So, and that's on a very large tract. I think it's around 9 or 10 acres. Don't hold me to the size of that. I don't have my plat in front of me. But we've got a list of covenants and restrictions that we want our people to be respectful. We've been neighbors with Ron for many years. We've never, to the best of my knowledge, caused Ron any trouble of any kind. We're also neighbors with his family. I am on my own personal residence on another place, and we don't have any issues there. So I don't see where we would be trampling over anybody's rights. We would never have a desire to do that in any way. So I just want everybody to know that we want to put in a clean, respectful project. We want our people to respect the neighbors, and we want the neighbors to respect our people. That's all. Thanks.
This closes the public portion of our hearing. Floor is open to discussion and/or a motion.
Well, I just want to address Ron for just a minute. Don't know you, Ron. I know probably your dad, if it's Larry. I'm not for sure about that. Okay. Anyway, this was platted years ago, rezoned by the city. So that's why you see this minor plat just get secondary approval denied. It already went to preliminary and final approval years ago with a lot more lots.
Could you come to the mic?
Well, I'm sorry that they're doing that, Ron, but that's,
There are certain requirements that the government has to meet. The government has to provide notice for things like this. And I have a track record. There's been 2 times I've received notice. Both times I showed up at those meetings. The first time, I just showed up as an interested party because I didn't want to cause trouble for my neighbor, didn't want to stop him from building a retirement home in his backyard and then selling his other house. Okay, just showed up to see how the process worked. He did that. He then died. Now there's somebody else in there that I don't know and disrespects my property. And as far as the comments that Mr. Stafford made, he doesn't know what will happen because he won't be living there. He can have all the covenants that he wants, but how many times do phone calls to the sheriff have to happen for noise complaints or because I'm shooting a gun on my property before my rights are completely trampled? And you can't say that it doesn't happen because it happens all the time, everywhere we go. But as far as the previous approval, had the city notified me, I would have been there. So there is an obligation to notify. Did not get that notification. Because like I said, the 2 times I did, I've been there. I showed up. So my track record is pretty good on that. So it's not really right to not notify a neighboring property, pass plans that are going to affect that property without the opportunity for the neighboring property representative to have a say. So whatever you have to do, but I will try to find legal representation to see what I can do to stop this.
but you did get notification on the rezone tonight, though, right?
I did. That's why I'm
Okay.
here.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that.
That's
Okay.
why I'm here.
Thank you.
Hey, how
And
long
and
have you-
I
how
will
long
say,
have you
I
lived-
put off a business trip to California to be here. I was supposed to be in California today building gearboxes, but I didn't go because I wanted to be here.
I understand.
How long
Thank
have you
you.
lived on your property now?
I moved in out there in late 1988. Yeah, so it's been 35 years or whatever, 36 years, something like that.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Got a young lady that should have the rules here in her hand. She's sitting over there next to Mrs. Parker. What is her comment on this?
Well, off the cuff here,
And I agree.
address that it's within the city jurisdiction, and it's gotta be something that's dealt with at the city level. And that's gonna be probably taken up to some petition in a county court
Yeah.
to address a wrong that was had at the city level, not the county level here tonight. So there is nothing that the commissioners tonight can do about a notice issue that was dealt with by the city at
Years
its
ago.
inception. We are left with what we've got today, which is to handle what's put in front of you, which was unfortunately, could have been mishandled by the city. So there's really nothing the commissioners can do about that tonight.
Do you feel free that we can go ahead with voting on this? Thank you.
Any other comments or questions? I'll call for a motion.
Kenny Hill makes a motion to approve the rezone request Z-24-04 for the Oaks Section 2 from Ag to R1.
Do you recommend a favorable recommendation to the commissioners?
Yes.
Okay. Do we have a second? Mr. Rumbaugh seconds. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? It will be passed on to the commissioners. When will that be heard? It'll be heard in front of the commissioners. Next Monday. Is that a night meeting? At 6:30? Next Monday at 6:30, it'll be heard in front of the commissioners. This board only gives a recommendation to the commissioners. It's up to the commissioners to make the final call on the rezone.
Yes.
Yeah.
No. It'll be at 6:30 this coming Monday, but there is not notification. Absolutely.
Yes, here.
Yeah. Yes.
Rod, you'll have to be here next Monday night for your rezone? Yes. Okay, just to let you know.
Next Monday at 6:30.
6:30, yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Petition and interested? Okay, that's fine. Since you got so much here. Is Abrams?
I didn't know.
We will move on to our next item.
Oh. I knew. Yeah.
Kenny's in her
I knew
moaning,
Larry
didn't know what was
loved
going
that.
on.
I only knew of him.
We're ready to go to item D, public hearing for petition to rezone Z-2403. Jeremy Abrams, on behalf of Abrams Property LLC, is seeking to rezone 4.8 acres from Ag to I-1. The property is located at 4989 and 4995 South 135 in Jackson Township.
Hello,
State your name and your address for us, please.
Jeremy Abraham, 2740 South Hickey Road, Morgantown.
Turn that,
Yep,
turn it up.
I'm sorry.
There you go.
How about now? So we bought this in 2021 when the buffer zone seems to be a pretty common theme here. So when filing for a building permit for new building, that's what led me to Laura's office, and she's been wonderful. So where we're at is trying to build a building, and being that it is ag, Laura has us going down the path of a rezone to industrial. I mean, I can answer any questions you may have, but, you know, currently there's 2 buildings on the property. When we bought the place, we did clean up a little, a lot of dead trees, overgrown brush and stuff like that that we did clean up. Right now, we've just been trying to afford the mortgage on the place. You know, it is a rental, it's a rental property, and has been operating like that, and we're just trying to expand our business in that and bring more local young entrepreneurs to town, so.
This building would be part of your operation, or this building would be something you want to rent to someone else?
It would be something that would be rented out, yes, ma'am. Yep, it would be an additional, it's 174 by 60. Be an office space on one end of it. Basically be 144 by 60 would be workshop with 3 overhead garage doors, and then be an office space on the end of it. We got Brown County Water, we have Duke for power. We've had soil samples done, and those have been sent off for the septic. We've been working with Miller Architect out of Nashville, Indiana. I've got a set of prints if anybody'd like to see what the building looks like. They're not full-size, just a set of regular-size prints of what the building will look like. He has sent that building design to the state for the state design release. Should have it back this week. Yeah. If anybody'd like to see the building, I can show it to you, or if not, whatever, however you'd like to handle it.
Anyone want to see the building?
It's fine.
Are you going to use, you're using the same entrance, correct, for this building?
Yes, sir. Yeah, yep. Yeah, we're just the next driveway south of what is, I think there's 4 big storage unit buildings there. And yeah, we're the gravel driveway just south of that, first one south of that, so. Yep. So we back up to some commercial zoned, like I say, working with Laura. She, was in favor of, her office was great to work with in favor of this, so.
Any questions?
What all would you, in this zoning, you can do about anything?
In the industrial, okay?
Yes, I mean, am I wrong in saying that it's the highest industrial rating we have? So, I mean, from a nuclear plant, anything else? Any ideas what you want to do on this ground?
I wasn't under the impression that I could just do anything there, but I guess, okay. I mean,
There's more than one person in this room that lives in Hickey Road.
I know you do. No, right now, the plan is, I have a gentleman who's interested in renting either all or a portion of the building. He manufactures small implements for garden tractors and stuff like that. He's in Johnson County now, and he's just out of space, out of room, looking for something. I've had interest from other folks as well who would, just need storage space. Interest from people who were there in the other buildings who are out of room and need additional room. So, yes, I guess we can do anything there, but right now the plan is storage and some light manufacturing, I guess. So, light as in very light.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
I don't have anything for Mr. Abraham, but Terry, on the staff reports, it indicates inadequate erosion control and drainage. And can you speak to that a little bit?
Well, he's going to have new construction, he'll have to submit a full set of plans to us. So what was submitted to us was not a full set of plans, but that'll move forward once he applies for his permit.
And that's on the drainage for erosion control and parking lot drainage and all that good stuff, yeah.
Once you get to that point, you'll have to submit to us a full set of plans.
Yeah, absolutely, yep. Good. Thank you.
Thank you. Parker, you got anything you'd like to add this time? Do you have anything you'd like to add?
Was there more people on the list?
Not for the interest, that's under interest.
Obviously, there are some other people here signed up out of concern for the I-1 zoning. And kind of in keeping with Mr. Rumbaugh's comments, yes, I-1 does have a lot of uses that could be permitted there, but they also have to be able to be developed within the I-1 zoning regulations. So there's a lot of things that would be completely off the list because they couldn't be developed in the space that's covered by this particular zoning district. So I just wanted to point that out for you. Not everything on the list gets to be developed there. This one will have, the building itself where it's going to be positioned is going to actually help serve as a lot of buffer for 135 because it's going to, all the other things you're seeing now is behind the building, and that he's agreed to put up fencing so that that helps continue to block and improve the vista. The boundary along the south side has a pretty thick vegetative buffer, so that helps along that private lane. So those were some of the reasons that I felt that this zoning would be appropriate. Be happy to answer any other questions you might have. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. We'll move on to persons in opposition. Marcus Billings.
If it's all right to approach the board, I have a few pictures and letters have been notarized by neighbors. I apologize, I think someone might have to share one.
You want?
Thank you. I'm sorry if you two could peruse the pictures together. My name is Marcus Billings. My home is at 9103 East Farm Drive, Morgantown, Indiana, just a few feet from the petitioner's proposed property. I'm here today to present 8 notarized letters of opposition to this proposed change in zoning, as well as explain the reasons for our opposition. These letters are from property owners immediately adjacent to the petitioner's property or within yards of it on Farm Drive. Farm Drive is the only access for these homeowners, and it runs for over 600 feet along the south side of the petitioner's property. Since its sale in 1994, this parcel has been the site of a series of unlicensed commercial scrap yards. Each subsequent owner, including the petitioner, has allowed their tenants to operate with complete disregard to any and all zoning regulations. A variance request submitted to the Town Board of Morgantown was summarily dismissed in 1994, and we believe the reasons for this dismissal are as legitimate today as they were then. Every year since the petitioner's purchase of the property in 2021, the number of derelict cars, trucks, boats, and other equipment located on the property has increased. In the overhead view of the property, that'd be figure 1 in your booklets, it's plainly evident that this is a junkyard in every sense of the word. There are no less than 40 derelict vehicles, multiple piles of debris and refuse, as you can see in figures 2 through 5. Also, the overhead picture that you're seeing was in 2022. They have since added to the number of vehicles that are there. We maintain that this unlicensed and illegal scrapyard lowers property values and actually poses a risk to the surrounding community and environment. Rezoning the land to an industrial classification will essentially give the petitioner and their tenants a free pass to increase the amount of refuse and derelict vehicles on the site. And since we can only judge them on their past actions, which up till now have been the willful disregard of current zoning ordinances, we are extremely concerned for what the future holds should this rezoning petition be approved. Furthermore, this property has a major tributary of the Bear Creek drainage system running through it, which in turn is a major contributor to the greater Indian Creek watershed. Automotive body parts have already been bulldozed into the creek basin. That's figure 5 in your booklet. And the potential for hazardous waste leaking from the derelict cars would seem to be very high. In summary, we see no reason why changing the zoning of this property would cause the petitioner or their tenant to begin following the zoning ordinances for which they have had only contempt for up till now, and would negatively impact the issues already being experienced. This change would only serve to enrich the petitioner who has purchased it for real estate speculation only at the expense of the surrounding community and homeowners. We would like to ask the board to consider all these points before they make a decision. And those letters are from people that are on Farm Drive. You have to drive past this property on the bad side. It really doesn't matter what's on 135 because, Farm Drive faces it for 600 feet, I guess for 6 months of the year, we get a little bit of vegetation covering it, but the other 6 months, we're staring at a bunch of, desolate abandoned cars. We have several other people on the docket to speak. I think there's only a couple of them, though, that, want to get up here, but I think we all stand in agreement on it. There's a total of 10 homes back there. To a person, to a property owner, they are all opposed to this. Thank you.
Residue,
Questions?
is this residue from Louis Bauman?
I'm sorry, Seth.
Is this residue from a previous owner?
Not that I'm aware of. The tenant's been active since 2015. I think the current tenant in there has been active since 2015, and it's grown since then. So, I mean, if the petitioner purchased it in 2021, there's been no attempt made to evict this current tenant or to take care of all the parts. To the best of my knowledge, because he doesn't advertise, he breaks down boats and cars and sell the parts on eBay. And then whatever's left is just thrown to the side in the back. I mean, you can see the pictures there. I mean, that's just, so that's, what we drive past every day. Our biggest fear is that if it's zoned industrial and you get a couple more part-time grease monkey mechanics in there, and I love mechanics. My stepfather, who I adore, was a mechanic. But, it's just asking for more trouble in our opinion.
Any other questions? Mr. Billings? No? All right, thank you.
All right, thank you. And next.
Jordan Billings, would you like to speak? Okay. Ms. Jenkins, would you like to speak? No? Kylie Billings, would you like to speak? Tyler, excuse me. Autumn, we can't make out your last name, Autumn. Here. Would you like to speak? Okay. Shane White, would you like to speak?
I would like to start by saying this is a very, very difficult position for me to be in because I am, in my opinion, very good friends with Mr. Abraham and his entire family. This affects my family and my property, so it's really hard for me to even be here tonight. I tried to talk to Mr. Abrahams and let him know that I have a difficult time with this. I know them very well, and I know that he has made an attempt to make the property better, and I think he has the best of intentions. There's no doubt in my mind to that. My biggest opposition is what happens if Jeremy decides to sell the property and it is rezoned to industrial. It is right next to my house. So that is my opposition, and as a friend, it's very difficult for me to oppose this, but I have to stand on that reasoning for this. So thank you.
Armando Martinez?
Mr. Billings addressed it. I live in 9320.
Yeah, we have to have you talk to Mike, it gets recorded that way.
Good evening. My name is Armando Martinez, 9320 East Farm Drive. Mr. Billings addressed everything that I also feel the same way about. The property is Farm Drive, everywhere around us is beautiful. That is a terrible eyesore, and it seems to be getting worse. And just want to thank Mr. Billings for sharing the sentiments that I have as well.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Excuse me. Holly Martinez? You good? That's all we have in opposition. We have one under interested. Mr. Hickey? No thanks? Okay. That's all we have signed up to speak. Mr. Abraham, you would like to have a rebuttal?
Yeah, I'm not standing here saying that the pictures are awesome, right? However, without a rezoning, I can't have had no luck finding anyone that's better than what's there, right? And like I say, we bought the place, we have a mortgage on it. At the end of the day, I've got to pay my bills. And we did try. We built a berm. There's a 10-foot dirt berm on the north side of the creek, the entire distance of Farm Drive. We built a berm. Louis Bowman had purposely stashed junk right across, 2 inches from Farm Drive. Within the first 3 weeks of us owning it, we took an excavator down here. We hauled off several loads of scrap. The one gentleman has been waiting for a liver transplant for almost 2 years. His dad is the boat guy. Eli is in a bad way with his life, but he's been waiting for a liver transplant, so he hasn't moved things the way I've asked him to. And his dad does work on boats in there. The guy in the back, I don't know what the definition of the derelict vehicle is. I would assume it's a non-operating vehicle. I would say that vast majority of those vehicles start and do run. They may not all have license plates that are current, but they're moving in and moving out. It may not look like it, but they are actively being worked on. The trailers all have tires. All the trailers that are on the property, they can be moved. The boat guy moves the trailers around. Like I said, I can't fix what Louis and the other people before me have done to diminish these folks, but with a rezone, I can hopefully bring better, right? And that's all I want to do, is to have the opportunity to build a new building and bring in a new tenant or new tenants who can treat the property as if it's theirs. And hopefully by doing that, it's not a decrease to their land value, it's an increase to their land value. Other than that, I don't know what else to tell you, so. But we have tried to clean it up. We bought it, I don't know that the grass had been mowed in months. I took a bush hog down there, and it had to be bush hogged. And we have a gentleman mow the grass every week. We pay a bill every week to have the grass mowed down there, so.
You have multiple tenants on this property.
Yeah, there's 2.5, yeah, because Eli's down, so his dad's working in the shop now, yeah. So, but if, hopefully I have a gentleman who wants to rent the entire place. If I can take it from 2 to 1, there's a lot more control with one person paying the bill, one person who's moving this. I don't have to try to call 2 or 3 different people. Hey, I asked you to move that at least to the back of the building so that it's not visible for everyone to see, and then next month it's still there, right? And that is difficult, having multiple tenants. But again, I can't build anything there, and I can't get anyone else to come in. The buildings that are there work for the people who are there, but this big new building is what I need to get someone else in there. So, thank you.
This closes the public portion of our hearing. Floor is open to discussion.
Laura, can you explain the reasoning to go to I-1 from ag? Is it a use thing? I don't think I caught that when we were talking about it.
Changing it to the industrial would allow more control in terms of development of the property now and in the future, because those uses would have to comply with our regulations for an I-1 district. Whether it's drainage, setbacks, buffering, screening, that kind of thing. So it was an opportunity to gather that up and control that with the new development of the site with the additional building. So there was that opportunity to do that. And there is adjacent storage units on the immediate adjacent lot to the north, which should be zoned some form of industrial or should have had a use variance, but Morgantown didn't do any of that. So, I think they're right in that Morgantown has allowed some things to develop without necessarily having the proper zoning for whatever reason. I'm not trying to dog Morgantown, but now it's in our jurisdiction and we have to address it.
So there'll be some more control with I-1 versus the ag then?
Yeah.
Potentially.
Junkyards are allowed in I-1.
I'm sorry?
Junkyards allowed in I-1.
Not in I-1, no. They're not allowed anywhere except by special exception. Is your public hearing still open?
Pardon me?
Is your public hearing still open? The only other alternative is he could go to the Board of Zoning Appeals and apply for a variance, a use variance. It's difficult to know what that would be because he doesn't know what tenant he would have in the building or whether or not he would redevelop the whole site for one tenant like he alluded to. So this seemed to be the best course of action. But that would be another path if he doesn't get the zoning.
So if he doesn't get I-1 or a different zoning, can he still build ag?
Well, not for the purpose that he wants. It would have to be an agricultural building.
Curious. I
Yeah.
didn't know where we
He could
stood
still
with that.
build a pole barn and use it for agricultural purposes.
I know it's out and down. Yeah. So for both sides.
Can you explain everything that's permitted under I-1? Just because it can't be a nuclear reactor.
Right, it can't be. I don't have my zoning ordinance with me, so I apologize, I didn't bring it down. So the list of uses are more things that are. He is good for something. Give me a second.
Oh, boy.
Hang on.
She didn't really mean that, John.
I was just kidding. You could have at least tabbed the pages for me. Industrial light users have to meet the performance standards for bulk controls and other requirements of this UDO, where said uses are performed entirely within enclosed structures and/or for which all loading and unloading facilities are enclosed. So again, we don't have a list that lists every conceivable type of industrial use. It fits into a broad category.
But it's enclosed and not sprawling.
Enclosed, screened, yes. I'm just looking to see if I can find any other definition that might be helpful.
If it's zoned I, there are screening requirements, correct?
Yes, there would be buffering and screening requirements.
Then a
Let me
would
go
be
here.
Like fencing or something like that?
I gotta get to the right page. Yeah, there's like a 50-foot minimum buffer yard requirement with I-1 and I-2 that would have to be planted. With shade trees and/or berm. There's lighting standards, driveway and access maintenance standards, parking and loading standards, sign standards, storage standards, and additional accessory structure standards, and trash and receptacle standards. So those are the bulk requirements and things that would need to be met. Any development that they did would have to go through development plan review. So we would get our TAC meeting together and those folks would have an opportunity to review and ensure that the standards are met.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Laura? Thank you.
Thanks.
Any other discussion?
Could I just ask one more question of Mr. Abraham? Is any of what they're calling derelict property and cars and this, that, and the other on the area that you would be building this building? Is it on that area?
Can I approach and show you?
Yeah, sure. Well, you can if I have it out here. There you
No, so the building is going out here,
go. Okay,
and this general area out in here. Like I say, there's probably, I mean, that's well over 100 foot with a buffer tree. This
Okay.
is where we built that berm, down through here.
okay,
But yeah, the building's going up.
okay. I just wanted clarification on that.
You're talking out here in front,
In
right?
the front, Kenny.
Yes, sir.
That's what
Yeah,
I
the new,
thought.
yeah, the new
Front.
building out in front, and then, yeah, this is the berm that we built. Like I say, the trees are, well over 100 foot, so the trees through there.
Thank you.
Good.
Why haven't you cleaned it up?
Have a little.
Damn it. I live there.
You
Remember
know,
that?
you know how much was in there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Louis, my neighbor.
That with Louis. Boy.
So something that we don't do very often, but is an option for you, is you can approve the use variance with written commitments to eliminate all other types of uses that you think would be problematic. And you could also put conditions on additional screening over and above what might be required, and/or, that certain things have to be cleaned up or improved. You can add that in there as a part of the written commitment. So that might help address the neighbors' concerns about the evolution of this property and what else could go on there. So I'm throwing that out there for you as an option. So it may be zone industrial, but once you get written commitments, those are recorded and run with the property. So any future owners of that would know that there's commitments that say only these uses can occur here.
We wouldn't know tonight. We want outdoor storage. Do what?
Outdoor storage.
It certainly could be something that you could suggest that the petitioner go back and work with the neighbors, find out what kinds of things would be acceptable or absolutely not acceptable, and perhaps come back with a list of written commitments at a future meeting. And then everybody's concerns can be addressed. That's one option. So I just wanted to make that.
Okay, thank you. Not now. She's staff.
Since you're an advocate for the petitioner, I just.
What's the thoughts of the board?
My thoughts, and I'm gonna be very honest, I'm tore on both sides. Hate it for you, Mr. Abraham, but you've owned us since June or May of '21, it looks like. Understand you guys gotta drive by it. It does look like a junkyard. I mean, I just went by there the other day with the wife going to Brown County State Park, and I've been seeing it for years. I know who created that. It wasn't this gentleman, and I know the gentleman that created the mess. So does Mr. Rumball. Very good. So I'm tore. I'm all for tabling it, seeing if we can't get a compromise, what you guys live with, what you can live with. I like the idea that being able to do manufacturing here. That's awesome. But right now, it looks like a junkyard. And I mean, I understand where they're coming from.
I'm
my
kind of,
two
I'm
cents.
kind of leaning your way too, to table it and ask them to come back with some
Yes.
recommendations and some,
Yeah,
you know,
I mean,
something.
they've got rights as well as you.
Well, I kind of have a heartburn just saying I-1 and then not knowing what's going to go in there. And the shape that the land is in now is, and it has been for multiple years,
Oh, yeah.
pretty bad shape. Kenny and I's been out there a few times to look at it prior to this, so. It is kind of an eyesore right now, and it'd be nice to clean up. So I'm kind of in agreement with Kenny on that one. That we should table it and ask him to bring some recommendations back to us. So I will call for a motion.
Make a motion on the petition to rezone Z-2403 for 30 days. Give you guys a chance to work it out and see what you can come back with.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have motion second to table to have them bring recommendations back to us. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion's tabled to the October meeting.
Thank you all.
I said, are we done? She said, yeah.
Table everything else.
We're just tabling everything, John. Bye. Public hearing for petition to vacate and replat RP 2411, John Larison, Holloway Engineering, on behalf of Michael Ricks, for requesting to vacate lots 1 and 2 in, has 3 lots. The 41 acres included in the replat is generally located at 3038 West Morrow Lake Lane in Gregg Township and is zoned ag. Mr. Larison.
Thank you, Terry. I'm John Larison, Holloway Engineering in Mooresville, Indiana. Here on behalf of Michael and Lisa Ricks. They own the entire Serenity Farm subdivision. It's a 5-lot minor plat, 101 acres. They live on Lot 3, and this is another subdivision that was formerly in Monrovia's planning area. It was in their buffer zone and now your responsibility. We are here with a very simple request. Mike and Lisa would like to create one additional lot. That would be their 6th and final lot allowed in your minor plat ordinance. And it is coming out of 1.7 acres is coming out of the current Lot 2, and 1.4 acres is coming out of the current Lot 1 to create a lakefront lot for the Ricks' daughter and son-in-law to build a new house on. The new lot is lot number 6, 3.0 acres. They have an acceptable soil sample. Really pretty simple, straightforward, large lot, allowed in your ag zoning. And I'll also tell you that we're also here to vacate and replat the existing easement. I don't know if the previous surveyor messed that up or if they messed up when they built it. But the current drive is not in the easement, so we're fixing that while we're here. And I have also included in number 2 of your dedication, I've included a maintenance agreement for the access and utility easement that is staged along different portions to make the split more equitable for the homeowners. This is all a family, so we know that mom and dad are probably going to pay for it anyway, but this will set it up to work in the future when it's not family. So I'll be happy to answer any questions you have.
You vacate just which drive easement, John?
That drive coming in off of Baltimore Road, actually, both of those have been redefined. The one that comes in off of Baltimore Road and continues north and northwesterly.
Yeah.
And then the one that splits off to the south, southwesterly, that feeds the current home on Lot 3.
So the road is not where the original easement was, that's correct?
That's right. It just needed to be cleaned up.
Just to be cleaned up, okay. John, is this the gated driveway?
It is gated. Yep, sits up on a hill and you drive right past it and not see it, but it is a gorgeous piece of property, very well maintained. Quite a family compound.
They still got the airstrip out there?
No, that's across the street. That is over in Pegasus Farms.
It is Pegasus, you're right. Yep, yeah.
And they do have,
They still got theirs, yeah. I thought they did.
Any questions for Mr. Larison? All right, thank you, Jim.
thank you.
Parker, anything to add?
Your last page of the handouts should have a blown-up version of the access easement, because I could barely read it on the glass, so I blew it up and then attached it for you. I just wanted to make sure you knew that it was in there. Be happy to answer any other questions if you have any. Okay, thanks.
This closes our public portion of the hearing. Floor is open. Any comments or a motion?
I'll move that we approve petition RP-24-11.
Dustin seconds. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. We're finished on this. Well, Mr. Peden, oh, sorry.
Dustin?
Would you like to make any comments? No? No report tonight? I tried.
Excuse
Plan
me.
director here.
Thank you.
The October meeting is on a Wednesday because of the Columbus Day holiday on Monday. So that bumps our meeting to Wednesday. We wouldn't want to interrupt a Fair Board meeting on Tuesday.
What day is that?
It's Wednesday, the 16th.
And that's our meeting?
That's our meeting, yes.
Say that date again.
Wednesday, the 16th of October.
Here for the
16th.
Okay.
It's a Wednesday.
I don't think I'll be here the 16th.
How about your vice president?
That's what we're checking right now.
Okay.
Let me make sure.
I have it on my calendar.
Yeah, I'll be in Florida on the 16th.
We can do a Zoom call
That's what I say, there's always Zoom.
or move the meeting there. Anybody else have any conflicts with that Wednesday?
I'm teaching a class.
Okay. All right.
That's fall break.
It's fall break.
Fall break and I got kids, my grandkids, so.
I'll be busy, but I'll stop to come.
You will be busy, won't you?
Okay, is there interest in rescheduling it? We need to know now so that I can get with the petitioners to re-advertise. Are you okay with that date, Kenny?
All right, have it down, yes.
Okay, thank you. Bill?
Two of us missing?
Well, and we have two members that aren't here tonight, so
Okay.
sounds like we'll be all right.
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
thank you.
Yes, we did.
Hey, you can't do that.
I second.
Hang on. All in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting's adjourned.
You don't recycle?